Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Paul Kelly. This is a reaction video to NAOYA INOUE stopping TJ Doheny in round 7 of a fight that went longer than people expected it to, was more competitive than people expected it to, but in the end has ended with another INOUE stoppage victory with an apparent back injury for TJ Doheny. Paul, give us your immediate reaction to what we've just seen.
Yeah, mate, thanks for having me on as always. Yeah, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head with the first two things you really said there. I think a lot when the fight lasted longer than the vast majority of fans thought, even if you were TJ Deheny's biggest fan, you're probably in the back of your mind didn't think he would get out of the first half, maybe. He did that, obviously. But not only that, mate, I think what you said there is 100% accurate in fact that it was a lot more competitive than we all thought. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it was 3-3 after 6 rounds or whatever. Like I don't think that was the case. But TJ Doheny definitely had success. I think the southpaw stance was given Inoue some trouble, and that overhand left did land a good few times. He landed a few body shots of his own, a few jabs of his own. He did as he began to land more, Doheny. I think as he opened up, then he also took more shots, and which obviously happens when you don't have as tight of a guard. But I was actually surprised at how well TJ Doheny did up until that injury. Do I think had that injury not have happened, do I think Doheny would have gone on to win the fight? No, I could not see a world in which that happened. That would happen. So yeah, I think it's no surprise to see Inoue get the victory. No surprise to see Inoue get the stoppage victory, I suppose. But yeah, a lot more competitive than I initially thought it was going to be, mate. What about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it because it was a competitive fight, whereas the expectation was this was going to be 2, maybe 3 rounds at most. Doheny wasn't just going to have much success, and he did. So look, I feel like look at ESBR, kind of we love Inoue partly because you get to see him kind of on a Tuesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, UK time. You don't have to stay up until 4, 5 a.m. as if what happens in the American fights. You don't have to stay up until kind of 11, which happens in the UK sometimes. So that's what's great about him. One of the main things that's great about him. But no, I enjoyed it, but I just think it was a typical case of Inoue wasn't at his best because he didn't need to be. I think that's what we've seen this afternoon, and that happens in yeah, which kind of happens in the sport. How did you have it, Paul? Look, I'm sure we'll see the official scorecards come out at some point. I would be interested to see if any judges given Doheny anything, because I just think it's a very tall order going up against Inoue in Japan. But how did you have it at the end of the sixth? Did you actually give Doheny any rounds?
See, that's an interesting one. I'm kind of glad you asked that because, if sitting here now after watching the fight, if I would say, like based on that performance, Doheny deserved a round or two, right? But if you actually analyze it for the 3 minute period, did he win a round? I'm not actually so sure. I mean, first round, not a lot happened, I suppose. He did have success. Was it the fourth round? Doheny had more success, and I was thinking, oh, here we go. This could be a Doheny round. But then he also took a lot more at the end of that round. And that was when people were maybe seeing that he was starting to unravel a little bit. So I can't sit here and say, oh, he definitely won the first round or he definitely won whatever round. But my feeling now, having watched it, is that if the scorecards are to come out, I would like to see him have won a round or two because I think his performance warranted that at least. Which just goes to show by the way, the level that Inoue is, that we're sitting here talking about, did he even win a round? Like, we're not talking about was it even or whatever it was, did he even lose a round? When, as I think what you again hitting the nail on the head, mate, he didn't have to be at his best because, with all due respect, PJ Doheny's best was probably a good few years ago now as well. But yeah, I think that it probably probably wouldn't surprise me if it was a whitewash, mate. But my feeling is that he deserved at least a round, didn't he?
Yeah, look, I think so. And look, you can't give rounds kind of out of sympathy, which I don't think we're doing here. But I do think there were out of the 6 rounds, I think there were 2 rounds that you possibly could have given to Henny that were competitive rounds, weren't easy to score to Inoue, but whether you kind of you actually whether you actually do that or not is a different is a different question. We'll see what the official scorecards say when they come out shortly. We're going to do some further reaction on this, Paul, in terms of um how in terms of what Inoue is going to do next. I'm just reading now. Apparently, he is going to stay at super bantamweight for his next fight. He's going to fight in Tokyo again in December. There were rumors that he was going to fight in Tyson Fury or Alexander undercards. That's not what I'm reading now. Back out in December, so in 3 months' time. Um, is that is that what you want to see? Would you want to see him stay at super bantamweight? We don't know who he's going to take. We don't know who he's going to take on. Obviously, kind of we're aware of some of the names at bantamweight, Abdeliev being one of them, Sam Goodman, the Australian, being another. Do you want to see him stay at super bantamweight and really kind of clean out any other competitors, or do you want to see him move up to featherweight in his next fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think Elliot Grigg and I discussed this in the preview. It's one of them where I want them to move up to featherweight just because I'm greedy. I want to see if he can become a five-weight world champion and become, unified, undisputed at 126 pounds as well. But if he is to stay at super bantam, I have no problem with the Akhmadaliev fight. I think it does make sense. Akhmadaliev is a big name as well. Only that one defeat, obviously, on his resume. I think that if he's going to stay at 122, that's the fight. Not interested personally in the Goodman fight. I don't know if you're the same or different. The only other name I would throw in there would be an all Japanese contest. If Nakatani was to jump up to super bantam, like I don't know if that's something that's ever been is being talked about or is even possible over in Japan. But that's something I would maybe be up for as well if he is to stay at 122 anyway.
Yeah, look, obviously the Nakatani fight, we'll see. I would love to see that fight happen in the future. Yeah, look, it would just we don't really need to kind of discuss it too much. It'd be a fantastic fight, wouldn't it? I mean, I wonder if it would be the biggest. Would it be the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history? We're not boxing historians here, but kind of feel like it would be. But if anyone wants to disagree with that, please feel free to politely disagree with us in the comments. Paul, we'll leave it there. Another fairly dominant victory for Nairo Inoue in Tokyo today. Not his best performance, but didn't need to be. He's got another stoppage win on his record. He moves to 27-0. We'll see if anybody can beat Inoue, whether it's at super bantamweight, featherweight, or beyond. We'll see how much longer he fights for as well at the age of 31. Paul, thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Give us a comment with your thoughts on the fight. Paul, I will speak to you again very, very soon.
Thanks, mate. All the best.